Hey everybody, I am back in the kitchen and I'm glad to be here. Now today I'm making cowboy candy. Have you ever heard of it? Cowboy candy is a candied jalapeno and it's the thing apparently this year because honestly I can't keep it on the shelf. When I make this stuff and I offer it for sale, it's gone like that. People just love it. It's a mix of sweet and the spice from the jalapeno. And it's just a lovely blend. People are wild about it. And so I'm making it because I'm expecting to do a couple of Christmas bazaars this year, maybe a couple of pop-up bakery sales. And when I take my jams and jellies along on those trips when I do cinnamon rolls or cupcakes or whatever I have for the bakery that day, I sell out because you just can't find fun stuff like that in a supermarket. Now, at a specialty market, of course, you're going to find all kinds of wonderful things there. But at just your regular mom and pop grocery store, Cowboy Candy, really good hot pepper jam, things like that, you're not going to find it on the shelf. So that's why I'm here, to show you how to make it yourself, because it's easy. And, well, I'm making a great big batch. But the recipe that I'm going to post on Jamie Teach Me to Cook has been whittled way down so that it'll be enough just for you to play with and see if you enjoy it. And if you do love it, and if you decide that you want to give it as Christmas gifts, you can water bath it in these adorable little jelly jars and give it as stocking stuffers, or shoot, give it with a piece of brie or a Gouda, something like that, in part of a gift basket. It would be a perfect gift. I'm all about homemade gifts. People love them. Why not? Do it. So let's just jump in. Y'all, I have borrowed this beast, this Cuisinart chopping machine from my friend because the one that I have is substandard. This thing gets her done. I have already chopped up the majority of what I'm going to need for this batch of cowboy candy. I have got 8 pounds. 8 pounds of jalapenos. I chopped them up. This is 3 pounds of white onion. I have got, now these are just adorable, and they're really just for color more than anything. They are little sweet peppers. I find them at the store. They're called mini peppers, and they're adorable, and they're just sweet naturally. Like I said, they're not going to add a whole lot of flavor to your cowboy candy, but they're just going to be pretty, and they'll add a variety of color, which is what I like. Now, traditionally, cowboy candy only has the jalapeno in it. That ain't how I roll, and you know that's not how I roll. I have to add things. I love the addition of the onion. The candied onion just, I don't know, it's just lovely. I adore it. And, well, the addition of these other peppers that I'm about to show you these, well, it's just a deviation off the good base. I'm always telling you, start with a good base and you can do what you want to do. No different here. These are going to give it some heat. These are serrano peppers. They're bloody hot, and I don't need a whole bunch of them for this gigantic batch of cowboy candy. I'm only going to use probably about 15, and that'll be plenty. So I'm just going to stick them down here in the Happy Cuisinart, and I'm going to give it a couple of blitzes, and it'll be a done deal. Then we can start building our juice, which is, well, one of the main things, because it's got the sugar, it's got the vinegar, and, well, it's just fabulous. So here we go. Gonna blitz it just a little bit. Boom, just like that. This thing is amazing. I gotta get me one of these. Brad, are you watching? I want one of these for Christmas. Okay, oh my goodness. Yeah, the fumes coming off of those serranos, it's like a mustard gas cloud. That's enough to wake you up. I'm just telling you, that is bloody hot. And I can tell because my sinuses are already going, holy cow, what are you doing to me? Anyway, I had these peppers in the refrigerator. And, well, I don't want to waste them. And I'm not going to just eat them. Where's my knife? Well, let's get a knife. So I'm just going to cut the tips off. Boom, boom. I'm going to put them through this handy dandy machine. Now, I don't take seeds out or anything because why would I? Because Hello? I'm not real good with this thing yet, but let's see what happens if I just stick that whole sucker in there. Yeah. Hot dog, y'all, this thing is amazing. And then she just pops off like that. Look at that. Holy mackerel. Yeah, she's hot. But good, because people always say, oh, you can't get it hot enough for me. Boo. I can. I can make you holler. Whew. In a good way, of course. Only in a good way. So, we will take this death trap apart. Here are our serrano peppers. Now, I am just going to dish them out into this bowl. Keep in mind, serranos are considerably hotter than a jalapeno. If you don't want to use anything hotter than a jalapeno, well, don't, because you don't want to hurt people. But if you know people really, really like spice, well, then by all means, you can totally add. You could put ghost pepper in there. You could put Carolina Reaper in there. You can put scorpion peppers. Just any kind of pepper that'll light them up, you can use. Now, I want for this cowboy candy to at least be edible. So I'm not going crazy with the addition of, those peppers that'll really hurt somebody. The ones that I'm using, while they do have considerable amount of spice, it's not going to overwhelm people because, people don't want that. This is going to be delicious is what it's going to be. Serve it on cream cheese with a cracker or just on a spoon with some cream cheese. Shut up. It's so good. Yum, yum, yum. All right, so I've got everything chopped up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my liquid, putting together my liquid. Now, I use apple cider vinegar as my base. Some people prefer to use white vinegar. They'll put some white vinegar with some water. You can do what you want to do. It's all about what you like in the taste profile. I found that when I use straight up apple cider vinegar, I just get a better flavor. There's nothing wrong with using white vinegar, but white vinegar just has kind of a flat one note song going on. Whereas the apple cider vinegar, it's fruity and I don't know, it just works a lot better, I find, in candied things like you can do the candied jalapenos, even in pickles. If you're going to make a good bread and butter pickle, use some apple cider vinegar. It's tasty. That's all I got to say. So I'm going to make you laugh. This gigantic pot. This is my 5-gallon pot. Well, I'm not putting 5 gallons of liquid in it, but I'm going to fill it pretty full because look at all these stinking peppers and onions I've got. But don't worry, it's going to cook way down. The moisture content of these peppers and the onions is just ridiculous. So I'm going to add my liquid to my pot right here. I'm going to go ahead and turn my eye on so it can be heating up because I want it to go pretty fast. I'm going in, let's see, with 6 cups of apple cider vinegar. Now remember, I'm going to have a smaller recipe at jamieteachmetocook.com, so don't worry. So that is 6 cups of apple cider vinegar. And then I'm going in with my sugar. Now if you wanted to use some brown sugar in addition to the white sugar, sure, why not? It'd be great. I love brown sugar. I just don't happen to have it handy, so I'm just going to use this white cane sugar. So I'm going in. That's 2 cups right there, straight in. We'll go on with one more. So that's 3 cups of sugar. And then it's just a matter of coming together with our spices. I have my measuring spoon here, so I'm just going to start at the top with my salt. Sugar plays well with salty things. And so since we have 3 cups of sugar in here, we need to hit it with a little salt to keep it from being flat. So this is 1 full tablespoon of just kosher salt. Gonna get my garlic powder here. I'm going in with a full tablespoon of garlic powder because we're building flavor now. We're not just wanting people to burn when they eat our cowboy candy. We want it to be a nice experience, you know, for the most part. I'm going in with a tablespoon of the onion powder as well. Going to go in with some celery seed. I don't need quite as much of the celery seed because a little dab will do you as far as I'm concerned. But you do miss it if you don't put it in. So it's a little bit of a texture thing. So that's 1 teaspoon. One more teaspoon. That's 2 teaspoons of celery seed. I'm going in with some turmeric. Now turmeric, well, it's got all kinds of wonderful health benefits. It's an antioxidant. And I think it's also an anti-inflammatory, if I'm not mistaken. But in this application, we just want it because it's going to be a pretty color. It's going to add color to our cowboy candy. And, well, who doesn't like a pretty color? So I'm going in with 1 teaspoon of turmeric. Well, that's about a teaspoon. And, well, because I like it. And because it's really good in pickles, basically, and what we're making is kind of like a pickle. This is a half a teaspoon of ground mustard. Well, it should be a half a teaspoon of ground mustard. It's just kind of what I had available. And that's it. That's what our base is going to be. I'm going to take my spoon out of this bowl of death. Kind of stir it around. I am going to put it on the stove. And I'm going to bring it to a boil. And once it's up to temperature and boiling, I'm going to add the veg. I'll go in with the onions and the peppers and make sure everybody's got a good coat. And I have to let that simmer for 15 minutes. Now at the 15-minute mark, these are not going to be done and squishy, but they're going to be soft. And they are going to have released a lot of their water content because, oddly enough, if this makes sense at all, sugar is also a good way to pull water from things. You know, people will salt meat or they'll salt vegetables and it pulls out the water. Well, sugar is also a substance that will leach out water and moisture. So all that sugar that's in our brine is going to help reduce the water content of all this vegetable. So while it seems like a ton, it's going to shrink down considerably. I hope to get maybe 16 to 18 half pints of this little jar of the cowboy candy, but I can't be sure how many I'm going to get because I've never made quite a batch this big. But anyway, live and learn, right? So when it comes to a boil, I'll be back. Well, I've got everything in this monster pot, and now I'm just going to stir it up. I'm going to stick the lid on it, and I'm going to bring it up to temperature, and I'm going to let it cook for 15 minutes, and then I will show you what we're left with. All right, y'all. It has been quite an adventure this afternoon making this cowboy candy. Let me pull it off the stove. Holy cow, it's stout. Now listen, I failed to factor in just how much water would be in all this pepper and onion mixture because it takes a long time to cook down water. Well, to cook the water out of something. So my cowboy candy hasn't turned out quite the way that I was wanting it to turn out. I mean, it's going to be fine, and it tastes pretty good because I have tasted of it, but I cut it on a thinner slice than I should have. So I am left with very fine strands of onion, and the pepper slices, they're very thin. So rather than be able to eat this out of the jar like you would a pickle, you're going to have to use a fork. Which, I mean, hello, that's fine in my book. And it's still going to be fine to serve. You can serve it as a relish. That's what I'm going to market it as a relish. Let me show you what I'm talking about. It is what it is. Let me grab a little plate so I can dip some out and show you. Now, there's considerable amount of sugar in here, and it still looks pretty soupy. But I think that as it cools down, that sugar will set up into more of a syrup than a liquid. But you can see what I'm dealing with. Whew. Now see, here, I'll go in for this one. It's spicy, but it's not blow your hair off. It's pretty good. I mean, if hot and spicy and sweet is your jam, you're going to like this. If you don't like hot, then you're not going to like this. But you might know somebody in your family who would like it. So you might just make a batch of it just, for grins and see what happens. I do suggest you use a thicker setting on your slicer and make a small batch. Don't do what I do, for Pete's sake, and you end up in the kitchen all afternoon trying to cook the water out. But live and learn, and you can learn from me because I am totally honest about my misadventures in the kitchen. So, that's how you learn. You mess up, you mark it down, and you note it for later, and you keep going. So, anyway, it is what it is, y'all. I am going to just jar this stuff up, and then I'm going to water bath it for about 20 minutes, and they'll be sealed, and hopefully by tomorrow, when they're cooled down, the syrup will have set up, and it'll be nice, and it'll be cowboy relish. How does that sound? It's going to be fine. I'm also going to make some pepper jam, so, potato, whatever. It's all going to be great. Listen, I hope you've enjoyed watching my misadventure here today, and I hope that you come and see me at jamieteachmetocook.com. I hope that you also see me over at Pinterest and Instagram, as well as Facebook at Jamie Teach Me to Cook. You can also check out jamiebakes.net. Oh, I got a new domain name. That is for my up-and-coming cupcake business. So I do appreciate you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.